Welcome to the Juice Box with Juice Springsteen, covering the week that was in professional wrestling. And welcome once again to another riveting edition of the Juice Box. I am Juice Springsteen, coming to you just after a very, very enthralling, intense, heart-stopping, once again, thrilling victory at Seinfeld Trivia with frequent contributor to the Juice Box, Josh Eisenberg. Shout out to Josh. Him and myself tackled a Seinfeld Trivia event this evening as I record this Thursday, although it is going to be Friday once this comes out to the airwaves. And we did our due diligence, and we were victorious at another Seinfeld Trivia event that is 2 this year, and we will look to do another victory, hopefully, next week. So I'll come back to you next week. We'll see if we did the three-peat, as it were. But yeah, I'm on a good mood right now talking about Seinfeld. But yeah, let's get into some wrestling. As always, Juicy Steen on Twitter, juicysteen.podbean.com, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. If you can rate this show, give it 5 straws. That would be fantastic. As well, if you go to Instagram, type in Juicy Wrestling Closet, and you will find all of my vintage pro wrestling t-shirts, primarily my WCW pay-per-view t-shirt collection there. Any of those types of things, you can reach out, talk to me about wrestling, Seinfeld, life, sports, and everything in between. This is going to be kind of a recap episode. The last 2 episodes were, prediction shows, obviously for Full Gear and for Survivor Series. And with Survivor Series happening right after Full Gear, really didn't have too much time to discuss what happened at Full Gear. So this episode will kind of be a refresher, a kind of catch up of what happened at Full Gear, Dynamite, and what happened at Survivor Series and Raw. Of course, the elephant in the room, CM Punk returned to WWE. CM Punk returned to WWE for the first time, in a wrestling capacity since Royal Rumble 2014, which I was in attendance for. He did, of course, have the brief stint on WWE Backstage in late 2019, which was also pretty fascinating stuff. But yeah, he returned at the end of Survivor Series in Chicago and showed up and cut a promo on Raw. I will get into the ins and outs of all of that. Good and not bad, just interesting. There's a lot to tackle there. Apparently he had a huge offer from Impact. I don't know what he was really considering this whole time, but WWE is where he is now. And if you're going by the promo that he cut, WWE is, in his words, home. So let's just get into make this easy. We're gonna go into Full Gear. I'm gonna kind of run through what happened, and then we'll get to what happened the last couple of weeks of Dynamite, and then we'll bleed into Survivor Series and close out with the Punk of it all. Because really, with CM Punk coming into the fray, especially now, November, we're a month away from just starting the new year, and just the fact that we are about to turn the page to 2024. The road to WrestleMania will be very, very quickly beginning and ramping up as we turn into 2024. And with that happening and CM Punk now being inserted into the WWE roster and locker room, I think it poses a lot of questions. It poses a lot of interesting matchups that could happen. And we're going to tackle most of them, if not all of them, although, really anything could happen with CM Punk. And I might wager it will. There's a match I'm specifically hoping for WrestleMania, and I don't know if we'll get there. The rumors are that it's very, very possible that it's been discussed. To be fair, it's been discussed for quite a long time, but now that Punk is back with WWE, it seems like it could come to fruition. But we'll tackle all of that, as even though we are in the doldrums of wrestling right now, because like I said, once you get into Royal Rumble, at least for WWE, you really got the WrestleMania season kind of kicked off and building to culminate at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. And I know AEW, a little bit different. You got World's End coming up at the end of the year as a new pay-per-view, which I like. I like having, another show. I like having multiple shows to kind of evaluate. WWE just had November show. They're not going to have a December pay-per-view or PLE, but AEW will. January will have Royal Rumble. February will have Elimination Chamber. March will have Revolution. April will be WrestleMania. So it's kind of like offsetting, every other company, every month there's something going on, which is really nice. It's really, again, as a wrestling fan, don't know how much better it could possibly be having multiple companies going at it week to week, month to month, year to year, as we close in on 5 years of AEW being around. So yeah, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. A lot of stuff happening in both companies. Let's start off with Full Gear. I'm not going to go into too much detail. This show's happened a couple weeks ago, but Thanksgiving holiday, Survivor Series happened. Juice Box is a little behind, so we'll catch back up. Get everybody back up to speed. I thought it was an interesting show. I caught the second half of the show, which arguably was the best half of the show. A lot of stuff happening that people will be talking about for quite a long time, including, let's be real, Swerve Strickland, Hangman Adam Page, Texas Deathmatch, staples, chains, and chairs. Oh my. These guys have incredible chemistry. These guys had a great match at Wrestle Dream, and here they have another great match. A Dave Meltzer 5-star match or a Juice Box 5-straw match. Texas Death, Halloween Havoc 93, Cactus Jack and Vader had a very intense, arguably the greatest Texas Death match up until that point, and now we get another great entry into the Texas Death match lineage. Staples, like I said, chains, just brutal stuff. Swerve is an absolute madman, and I've been kind of a proponent of Swerve for a while now, but I really do believe that it is his destiny to become AEW champion sooner rather than later. Of course, he would be the first African American AEW World Champion, which would be great. I just think he's on another level right now. His in-ring work is stellar. Very reminiscent of how smooth he is to, this is the old, NWA in me. But very, very Barry Windham, I would say, in regards to the smooth transitions throughout his work. Very little herky-jerky, not steady work from Swerve Strickland. I think he's one of the best, in AEW, maybe just in general. But, yeah, that match was insane. We had Sting and Darby Allin, along with Adam Copeland, getting the victory over the Patriarchy, which was kind of expected. I believe I predicted that to be the case. And we're going to get to Sting here as we talk about Dynamite in a little bit. Another big moment here was Julia Hart winning the TBS title, and now she's had a couple of defenses of that championship. It's really cool to see her now at the top of the heap in the women's division, outside of Timeless Toni Storm, who is also now the AEW Women's Champion. That happened as well, so both women's championships changed hands at Full Gear. And then, of course, MJF retains against Jay White. Kind of did an angle, he was kind of hurt, beat down, came back in an ambulance, which was pretty wild to see. And, a lot of not WWE storyline stuff, but a lot of just a lot of I don't know, shtick. I don't know how else to put it without sounding negative. It's just I don't think it's a negative. I think MJF is kind of growing into character work, as it were, and I honestly think he's good at it. I think him as a babyface is something that is necessary, because to me, MJF is already, probably one of the most ruthless, dastardly, deceitful, duplicitous heels that you could have. And in that realm, you want to be the best babyface you can be as well, because you want to make it believable on both sides. As a heel, he's so believable. You believe everything he says. He makes you, believe everything he says. He makes you understand that what he's saying is not, a work. He's really, really showing this hatred. He's doing dastardly things. And I think the contrast, and to be a great babyface, might be challenging to some pro wrestlers out there, but with a guy like MJF, who's honed in the heel of it all to such an extent where, kayfabe is really alive and well with a guy like MJF, I think it's a challenge to see, hey, can I also potentially be a top babyface? Because at any point, of course, he could go back to being the biggest heel in the company, but no rush, there's no need to do that, and this is a great chance. Arguably, I think, because of the Adam Cole injury, I think that's what kind of helped spawn this to continue as long as it has. I'm not saying that they would have broken up and, Cole would have gone a certain way and MJF would have gone a certain way and someone would, I don't know. Cole got injured, so it's all speculation at this point. It's tough. But to me, I just don't think it, you can't predict it either way. You can't tell me that that MJF was going to be a certain way as a face without the Cole injury. I think it definitely affected how he played it, or continues to play it further. So I like it, though. I enjoy seeing MJF work as both. He's given me a lot of Ric Flair vibes in that regard, where he can really be the worst person you've ever met in your life, but he's also, at the same time, just like a great guy, great friend, really, I don't know if plucky babyface is the term, but just like everybody's rooting for him. He's really walked that fine line, and just the fact that he can have a baby face chant at him saying, "You're our scumbag," is such a paradox. But I think it's fantastic. I think it's great to be a babyface that people are like. They're calling him a scumbag, yet he is the good guy in all these stories. It's a great contrast, and I think MJF really pulls it off well. So yeah, with the Adam Cole injury, it really hurt things, but I don't think it necessarily shelved a strong, story that can't be pushed forward. I think look, whether it's a work or not with Adam Cole, I think that MJF has been able to navigate okay. They're doing this devil thing now, where he was the devil before, of course, and to be fair, he could be the devil now. But multiple guys have come out and attacked MJF. In fact, as stated, we'll get into Dynamite. And as we are here, yeah, a lot of guys attacked MJF and the devil. So we really don't know what's going to happen with all that. However, a typewritten message kind of appeared on the screen. And it seems like next week we're going to get Samoa Joe, who will be wrestling MJF at World's End. I believe it was supposed to be Adam Cole's match, but it's not. We'll be teaming with MJF to take on, I guess, two of the guys from this group. We really don't know. But yeah, we'll see what happens. The devil thing really is interesting to me because was this something created, furthered with the Adam Cole injury in mind? Was this always Adam Cole? Was this pivoted because of an injury? Was this always somebody and Adam Cole's injury helped kind of, again, pivot to in a way? Was the devil supposed to be somebody and Adam Cole's injury prolonged the reveal? Whether it's Cole or MJF or someone else that's the devil. There's just a lot of different questions and interesting, avenues I normally kind of go through that I just feel like the Adam Cole injury. Look, it could be a work. I could be all wrong, but the injury kind of made a decision for Tony Khan and MJF and AEW to go this certain way. If it's revealed that it's been a work and the injury was a work, then all this is moot. But I just think that they had a plan. It was kind of a loose plan, kind of like the Black Scorpion in WCW. So, I mean, good Lord, if you want to talk about rough unmaskings. Hey, they got Ric Flair and Sting in AEW now. So, I mean, you could really pull that off again. Maybe Ric Flair's the devil. I know a lot of people would say that after some of the comments he made that may or may not air tonight on Rampage. But yeah, I'm fascinated to see where the MJF thing goes. Who's the devil? Will it get revealed? It wasn't revealed at Full Gear. Will it get revealed at World's End? It's in Long Island. It would be conceivable to think it could be. Is it Adam Cole? Is it Britt Baker? Is it Wardlow? Is it MJF? A lot of questions. So I don't know. I find it interesting. And speaking of Wardlow comes out for his match. Goes against AR Fox. And this match happens after the Masked Man and the Devil attacked MJF. Is it conceivable that Wardlow was a part of that? Because after he comes out, you notice that Wardlow's hair is a tad askew. And if that's, something that's real and something that's like it wasn't just his hair being his hair. If his hair was messed up because he had a mask on 5 minutes ago, then we really got something, and it's going to be an interesting World's End pay-per-view that I would say is must-see. I like that it's a New Year's Eve show because New Year's Eve is on Sunday, so a lot of people are going to have probably New Year's Eve and day off, so that Saturday night will be a nice night for wrestling, I would imagine. But yeah, maybe Wardlow's a part of it. He's been... Wardlow, among others, of course, Samoa Joe, who's actually getting the match against MJF at the pay-per-view. Multiple guys have been, I want MJF's title. I want MJF. He's pissed me off. He sent me down the wrong path, this and that. And we'll see. It's very conceivable that a lot of these guys could be the devil, could be helping the devil, or are just wanting to be in the title picture or in title contention. And not a part of the devil thing at all. But of course, that remains to be seen. Some other just tidbits as we kind of move forward here. Dante Martin, oh man, the broken leg, ankle, whatever you want to call it, that happened at the Ring of Honor show back in March was absolutely brutal. And for him to come back 8 months later and wrestle, Top Flight and Action Andretti took on Brother Zay and the Hardys. A great moment. Top Flight and Andretti get the win. We go backstage, and Penta, Vikingo, and Commander issued a challenge to Top Flight and Action Andretti for a future match. And damn, if that's a trios match that I would pay to see, that, oh man, I don't know if you hold off on that until a pay-per-view. If you deem it's worthy, do you give it away on free TV? I really don't know what the call is there, but I just think that's a hell of a match that you have on the table. So we'll see what happens with those 6 men. Of course, Christian Cage responded to Adam Copeland. Next week, Montreal, Adam Copeland takes on Christian Cage for the TNT title. Christian really tried to pull off the Adam Copeland thing. Hey, let's be friends. Let's be tag partners. Let's do it for your mom, who is deceased. Really hitting a lot of great points. And, of course, Christian, thinks he's got it all sewn up. Adam Copeland hits him with a low blow and then drops another F-bomb in response to the original F-bomb that Christian Cage dropped on him a couple of weeks ago. So this has been building up. I cannot wait for this match. Of course, I would love to see a ladder match between the two. And who knows, maybe that'll happen at a pay-per-view down the line. But for now, this is all we're getting, and it's happening in Canada. I know not Toronto, but Toronto already hosted Adam Copeland's final WWE match, at least for now. So, to me, I think Montreal is a perfectly fine spot. Continental Classic. Now, I'm going to go over this if you just give me a second. Because I know that there's a bracket. This is what I want to delve into. This was announced, I believe, last week, so we did not get to discuss this at all leading into Survivor Series, of course. But the Continental Classic, a 2-block round-robin tournament, very similar to the G1 of New Japan Pro Wrestling. The winner of this, which will happen at the World's End pay-per-view, will be crowned the inaugural AEW Continental Champion, which will also mean that you are the Ring of Honor World Champion and the Strong Openweight Champion of New Japan Pro Wrestling, which will subsequently become, apparently, a Triple Crown Champion. Now, my only concern is, whenever this is done, we will find out, when if someone wins this and it becomes, quote, Triple Crown Champion, does this mean They're always defending these 3 titles. Do the 3 titles absorb into one title? I don't know. We all know the title situation in AEW. There's more titles on the roster. There are more titles on the show than are guys on the roster. Whew, that was tough to say. But yeah, it's very confusing. That is at least. But the block format, again, it's very G1. I really like this because you get a set of, is it 12 guys? Yeah, 12 guys. You know exactly who's going to face each other. You know exactly what's going to happen. 20-minute time limit, 3 points for a win, 1 for a draw, none for a loss. Again, very G1. And the 2 winners of the group will face each other to win that Triple Crown title. Nobody is allowed at ringside. You might get a deduction of a point there. So it's fascinating. And right now, the Gold League, Jon Moxley, Swerve Strickland, Jay White, Roosh, Jay Lethal, and Mark Briscoe. And on the Blue League, we've got Eddie Kingston, Daniel Garcia, Bryan Danielson, Andrade, Claudio Castagnoli, and Brody King. Hell of a lineup of 12 guys here. And thus far, we've gotten wins by Brody King, Claudio Castagnoli, Jon Moxley, Swerve Strickland, Jay White, and Roosh. Right now, in the Blue League, 3 points are with Brody King. 3 points are with Claudio Castagnoli. Andrade, Danielson, Garcia, and Kingston all have 0. In the Gold League, Jon Moxley and Swerve Strickland have 6 points apiece. Swerve Strickland getting that latest 3 points in a victory over Jay White, which was a great match. Jay White and Roosh also have 3, and Jay Lethal and Mark Briscoe at the moment have 0 points. But we got matches happening this weekend. Erie, Pennsylvania, Claudio and Brody King, Danielson and Eddie Kingston, Daniel Garcia and Andrade. It's just a great way to synchronize matchups between wrestlers that you might not normally see just in regards to a regular storyline based thing. You're getting guys in a tournament and it's all for something, and you know this guy has to face this guy, and like it's gonna happen. So you know that you're getting these guaranteed matches. They all matter, and it's all gonna culminate at a pay-per-view. So I think overall I really like this concept. And if it's successful and if it goes well and it's not as convoluted as it might seem on paper, then the final should be great, and I don't see any issue with it at all being something that they could do each and every year. So that is the Continental Classic, as it were. So yeah, that also happened with Swerve getting that victory. Julia Hart had a successful title defense of her TBS title. As I said, Wardlow was in a squash match. Yeah, overall, not a bad episode of Dynamite. Again, with these kind of the Continental Classic matches coming in, I think it's a fun little integration of wrestling on each show that really, really matters. And it's not necessarily just matches for the sake of matches, although I know a lot of people will critique that and will disagree with me, but be that as it is. But outside of that, yeah, AEW doing well. As we get into the WWE of it all, it of course is tough with the loss of CM Punk from their roster on the day of Payback. I was in attendance. I was sitting with Wrestling Nation as they told me that it had just come down and that CM Punk had been relieved of his duties and contract, fired as it were. And you just you really don't think that of all things to happen after that, that CM Punk would be coming back to WWE. But lo and behold, he is back in WWE. And damn. Let's just get into it. Let's just get into Survivor Series. First off, I mentioned Josh Eisenberg before the show. Or at the beginning of the show, and I'll mention him again. I got to watch Survivor Series with Josh Great time. Always a good time watching wrestling with him. And it was just a great overall show. I thought the crowd was really into it. Like I said, like Chicago is, Chicago has been an AEW town for the last couple of years since AEW has been a thing because of how often they go. And, now you get Survivor Series there just mere months after CM Punk is released. And the rumors had been swirling for so long. Is, Punk going to come back? Is he going to be here? This is the time. If it doesn't happen here, will it ever happen? And we'll get there. So, Women's War Games match I thought was really good. Pinfall happened. It was not on Shotzi. I thought everybody had a great match. Everybody got their stuff in. Everybody worked well together. I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to what they've got going on with the women as we go into the Royal Rumble, and we get to the road to WrestleMania. Because I'm looking to see a potential Charlotte Flair Jade Cargill match. Are we going to see Damage Control finally show some cracks? Is Bianca going to get a shot at Rhea Ripley? Who's going to win the Women's Royal Rumble? This was a very, very strong match of 8 women, all pretty much top of the card in their respective divisions. And it's just going to be interesting to see how it plays out going forward. So I enjoyed the match. Brutal match. War Games is always great. And look, this is a 5-match show. Didn't feel like a 5-match show. Felt like a full-fledged 3-hour card, regardless of how many matches. Gunther defeated The Miz by submission. Miz took Gunther for quite a ride. I thought it was a very well-done match. Miz really showed he could hang. Of course, I knew he could. He's one of the greatest Intercontinental champions of all time. I'd say Gunther's number 1, but Miz is not too far behind. He had a lot of reigns, tried to get the most reigns, couldn't get it done. But looking forward to seeing what Gunther has at stake here going forward. I really think he should lose this Intercontinental title before the Rumble. You need Gunther to go into WrestleMania either chasing Seth Rollins, or having a match with Brock Lesnar. I don't see another way about it. I don't see him taking this IC title to Mania and then losing it at Mania. I think there's just a lot more for Gunther to do, and why not get it kick-started here soon. Dragon Lee got defeated by Santos Escobar. It was supposed to be Carlito in Dragon Lee's place, but that did not happen for some reason. Maybe we'll get some answers tonight on SmackDown, but I wouldn't wager that is a guarantee. But it was a good little match. Santos Escobar, I really like him. I really think he's got a lot going for him and going forward. I think he could have a strong outing in the Royal Rumble as we near closer to the end of 2023, going into 2024. Zoe Stark put up a decent little fight against Rhea Ripley, but unfortunately came up short for her. Unfortunate. Rhea Ripley is still dominant, probably the most dominant champion in WWE that's not named Roman Reigns or Gunther. And the sky's the limit for her. I think Rhea is on a collision course with Bianca Belair or whoever would win the Royal Rumble. We'll see. Like I said, it's going to be fascinating to see what happens with that. I think any of the 8 women in the War Games match, maybe outside of Shotzi, could challenge Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania for the world title. So we'll see what happens. The women's division, the women in general in WWE is just such a strong point, and I like what they're doing with them, and I don't see why they can't continue this momentum as we turn the page into another year and get that build going towards WrestleMania. All right, let's get to it. Main event, War Games, this was riveting, as some might say, cinema. Of course, I mean, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and Randy Orton. Randy Orton did show up, defeated the Judgment Day, Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Dom, and JD McDonough, along with Drew McIntyre. This was a wild match. The whole story throughout the night was, Randy Orton definitely told Cody, hey, I'm in for War Games. Let's go. Let's do this thing. Day of the show, I don't know. Orton's not at the building yet, and he hadn't been at the building, and they played this up all night. I thought it was really solid. And, of course, in the women's match, which was the advantage was determined by ruffles, so I'm glad that the War Games advantage is determined by a bag of chips. But the War Games match for the men, of course, had the heels as the advantage. Shout out to Arn Anderson and every heel team in War Games history for always getting the advantage. But they definitely had the advantage going into this thing. And it ended up being, hey, Randy Orton's still not here. And as he's the last guy to potentially go out there, a powerbomb through a table on Seth Rollins, and Rhea Ripley comes out. She's got the briefcase in hand. Damian Priest is going to cash in. And then Randy Orton triumphantly comes out. Doesn't happen. He looks absolutely shredded. My God. I tweeted out a photo of Muscle Bob Buff Pants from SpongeBob in regards to what Randy Orton looked like. I mean, this guy has been wrestling. He's been in WWE for over 20 years now, and he's absolutely yoked. He's huge. His traps are huge. He's always been in great shape. I mean, Justin LaBar contributed to this show. Now he's got his own Busted Open radio show. Shout out to Justin LaBar, his own Busted Open show every Sunday from 9 to 12. He co-hosts a slot on that program, Sirius Satellite Channel 146. It is just wild that he is so jacked. Randy Orton is the prototypical wrestler. LaBar would always say he's the guy that if you create a pro wrestler, Randy Orton is who you'd want to This is who you would create. The lineage, the smoothness in the ring, the look, the charisma, just everything is just A+ with Randy Orton, and it's been that way for quite a long time. So he comes out, he's out there, and he's really, he has the hits, hits some RKOs. He does his DDT. They do a 5-person DDT, which was incredible. And then, man, spot of the night. JD McDonough gets thrown from the top of the cage into an RKO, and that's all she wrote. Great match. Fantastic match. Everybody, got their moves in. Everybody's happy. There's the faces are celebrating in the ring. They run that damn copyright 2023 WWE on the bottom right of the screen, and I was skeptical that they put it up, but the last thing I would have thought that would have happened next happened, and you hear the and we get Cult of Personality. CM Punk's Titantron hits. It was not an accident. It's not a rib. And he comes out, white t-shirt, blue jeans, about as CM Punk as you could get. And he is there just in his glory, soaking it all in. From the Chicago crowd, he met up with a couple of fans. I know he greeted Frank the Clown, I believe, the following night on Raw, or the following Raw from Nashville. He was just, again, soaking it all in, really appreciating everything that had come through. And I just can't believe that he's back. Like I said, the Royal Rumble 2014 was the last time in ring we saw CM Punk for WWE. And for it to be 2023, almost a full decade. Royal Rumble 2024 coming, which would be fascinating to see him in the Rumble after all these years. For Punk to come back, I mean, look, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I think it's pretty, easy to see. It's easy to understand. And look, you don't have to like the guy. You don't even have to care about the guy. You don't even have to watch WWE. But the facts are the facts. CM Punk is a draw. He's a big draw. There's a reason AEW did whatever they could to coax Punk from not wrestling for 7 years to wrestling, in 2021. And the fact that it happened, the fact that Punk had great matches, dog collar match MJF, his first match with Darby Allin, because of those matches and the things that Punk did, of course, you know what? And his all-in match at Wembley with Samoa Joe, I thought was damn good. And it was the opener, which is tough. 80,000 people there. Those two guys have wrestled for, upwards of 20 years, at least, wrestled 20 years ago, haven't lost a step. Those are two guys you trust in holding a crowd of 80,000 in the palm of their hand and having a great match, without any worry. And the fact that all those things happened, yet it was the unprofessional background and backstage politics, BS, EVP interests, certain things did not go the way of CM Punk. And I'll be honest. I was critical. I said CM Punk screwed CM Punk as soon as I found out that he had been released from AEW. Then you read more. You do some more research. You do your due diligence. You have a little bit of journalistic integrity, as one does that has a journalism degree. Shout out Juice Springsteen. And you've kind of realized that, sure, maybe the unprofessionalism goes both ways. Maybe CM Punk shouldn't have taken things where they were taken. Maybe Jack Perry says that line about Cry Me a River in the glass, and Punk says nothing and leaves it. But that's not who CM Punk is. And that's why WWE wanted CM Punk back. It's because CM Punk is CM Punk. Whether you like him or don't like him, whether you like what he does and how he goes about what he's doing or not, he's unequivocally himself. He's unabashed himself. He's always himself. He's never not CM Punk. And to me, that is very admirable in a world of pro wrestling where everything's a work, everything's kayfabe. I'm not me. You're not you. We're playing these characters. CM Punk is CM Punk. And I think that, maybe the stability of his mental faculties in regards to someone trying to upstage him or make him look like a fool in front of, a pay-per-view audience. Of course, that's going to tick him off. Of course, it's going to piss him off in a way that he's going to react and outwardly potentially attack or verbally assault or get into a physical altercation with Jack Perry, or somebody like that. If CM Punk goes to WWE, which now he has, then I don't think there's any professional issue there. I think WWE in 2023 and CM Punk in 2023 are a lot more alike than we would have ever guessed. It's just WWE right now is very professional. The atmosphere is very professional. And it's just nice to see the camaraderie, I guess week to week, but at these PLEs, you could just tell that, everybody's on the same page. Everybody wants the company to do well. And everybody's kind of on the same team. You know, they're backing each other up, and it's just not backstab. It's good. It's good stuff. And for AEW to not have that type of atmosphere, to let the inmates, in a sense, run the asylum, and to have people kind of toying with the mental stability of someone that you know could just come apart at any moment, and kind of not pick fun at, but almost take advantage of. I'm going to say whatever I can to CM Punk because I know he's going to bite. I know he's going to sell it. There's no way he's not going to sell this. You know, like, what year is it? How old are we? Is this professional wrestling? Or are we just like wrestling in our backyard? Are we just wrestling with friends? Are we wrestling for $25? CM Punk understood that WWE is professional, probably more professional than it was whenever he was last there. It's reported he had an hour-plus long conversation with Triple H. It's reported that he was there was very few people that really knew that Punk was going to come back then at Survivor Series, and maybe some of the main eventers knew, which I'll get to that as well. There's video that surfaced after the show of CM Punk, you know, after he's returned and his music's hitting, that Seth Rollins is seething about Punk being there and F-bombing him and, you know, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Really just going off. To me, that's a work. It's a great work. I think all they had to say was, hey, guys, look, you're going to have your match. Do everything. Go through your match. Have your match. But look, CM Punk is here, and he's, like, back, and he is going to be debuting right after your match. So, you know, and if that's known, and that's all that's known, I think it's up to the wrestlers then to be like, hey, how can we make this better? How can we, you know, do good business? Because that's what good companies do. And successful companies do. And successful performers do. So Seth Rollins, who has been incredibly vocal, whether it's a work or not, because I know that there have been very more poignant, intimate interviews with Seth Rollins where he's like, look, Punk and I kind of hashed it out. It's all over. He apologized, and we're past that. As long as you know that, even in the slightest bit, anything else he says Rollins could say about Punk, to me, I'm taking as a work. He called him a cancer. He said, stay far away from here. I think if Rollins knows, hey, Punk's returning after this match, I need to be seething. I need to be pissed. I need to be outraged. I need to be so mad that this guy is back. And for what? I know what he did. Everybody knows what he screwed everybody over. He left. He walked out. He took his ball and went home. There's so many ways to play it. And for Seth Rollins to be ahead of that and act on it and look like he did, genius. So who knows what's next for CM Punk. We'll continue this as we go forward. I'm really hoping we can get a triple threat theater. Honestly, as long as it's before WrestleMania, a triple threat theater will be great because we can get some insight from Josh Cross, who's arguably one of the biggest CM Punk fans in the history of the business, and of course Donnie, who compliments a lot and compliments the show a lot and is able to be that contrast with Josh as me being the little mediator that I am. When we do the Triple Threat Theater. So I'm hoping to pull one of those off here soon. We can talk a little bit more about Punk in depth and what we think is going to happen. As of now, he had a little promo on Raw. It was scripted to an extent. I think he ad-libbed a little bit, but for the most part, it was scripted. And to me, he's just happy to be home. He called it home. But I do really think deep down that he can't help but to appreciate all the fans, especially WWE fans, that no matter what Punk did, go to AEW, do this, do that, bash this, bash that, always would chant CM Punk, CM Punk. You know, in Chicago, at WrestleMania, at any show, at any time. For the last 10 years, it's been like that. And I think Punk knows that and respects that. And I think this is why he's back in WWE. He knew how it ended. He knows that he can end it on his own terms here when he wants. And it's going to be the best way. And he's done the alternative, and the alternative was unprofessional as hell. So hell froze over, and CM Punk is back in WWE. Here's hoping for CM Punk versus Steve Austin. So manifest that, baby. Whew. Yeah, this is just a little recap episode. I know it's going to be normal. It's episode 49. We're definitely locked in time here, middle of the week here as this episode begins December. So happy December 1st. Couple more episodes and we'll be heading into January, where we'll be celebrating the Juice Box's first year anniversary. Don't think anything special is going to happen for that. I'll let you know if it does, but the fact that I've been doing this for almost a year now is really, really cool to me, remarkable to me, because going into this, all I wanted to do was make sure that, continuity is very important to me, and doing this on my own, I love having guests. That's not the issue. It's if you go and start a show with someone else, potentially, and it could be anybody. This is not a shot at anybody. This is just how I process things. If you do a show with someone else and maybe the show's not doing what they want it to, they might jump off ship, even though you're still wanting to stick with it. And then it's just never the same, and it's just no continuity. I figured if I do the show and continue it, I can have guests on whenever I want, but it's up to me to consistently do this. Put a show out every Friday, no matter what. I always want to put a new show out, and I've done that for 49 straight weeks, and I can't wait to continue to do so for the next 3 and beyond, to continue bringing the Juice Box to all of you out there, however many that there are of you out there. Whew. Wow. So a lot of great stuff happening in the world of wrestling. AEW's got the Continental Classic. We've got World's End at the end of the year. We got the Devil, who knows who it is. Oh, by the way, Ric Flair and Sting are kind of like, enjoying, reminiscing the times that they've had over the years. Greensboro Coliseum has now been officially announced as Revolution's pay-per-view site. So that's Greensboro Coliseum is where Sting will have his final match of his career. My dad and I got to go to Starrcade, the house show in 2017 in the Greensboro Coliseum, and it was a wonderful, wonderful experience, and I'm so glad we got to do that, and I'm so glad that Sting gets to have his final match in the Greensboro Coliseum, which should be an emotional night, to say the least. But yeah, hopefully next week we'll get just some more insight on what CM Punk has going forward, as we, like I said, nothing really until the Royal Rumble for WWE. Cody Rhodes did announce he's going to be declaring for the Royal Rumble, but outside of that, no other build. We still have SmackDown later tonight. And yeah, AEW's got a lot cooking. They have a pay-per-view at the end of this month. So always something to talk about here on the Juice Box, and I will be here to discuss it. Hopefully Triple Threat Theater soon. We'll get Eisenberg in here again for some predictions of World's End, I'm sure. And who knows who else or what else we'll be discussing as time goes on. But as always, I'm Juice Springsteen. Juicy Steen on Twitter, Juicy Wrestling Closet on Instagram, Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts. If you rate and review this show, if you at least rate it, give it 5 straws. If you could review it, that would be fantastic as well. I'm Juice Springsteen. Hopefully you guys like this edition of the Juice Box. Tune in every week, every Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. I'm Juice Springsteen, and this has been another riveting, enthralling, exciting, and captivating episode of The Juice Box. That was The Juice Box with Juice Springsteen. Make sure to subscribe to The Juice Box wherever you listen to podcasts.